Hello fellow bounty hunters, and welcome to this strategy / explanation video on magical properties, what they are, what they do, and the explanation of the offensive and defensive traits in them. Today this is part 1. Next week you'll see part 2. Today I'm going through the offensive traits, and next week will be the defensive traits. Now this video basically sums up a blog that's already written by one of my favorite members of the community, Zungdius. I don't know how to say it properly. I hope that's the way I say it. I'm Australian, don't mean to be offensive. But I'm going to go through it today. So if you don't know what magical properties are, go into your inventory and select any armor or trait that you want and go into that, click it. On the right side, you will be able to see magical properties and all of the traits listed under that. Now, I'm going to get into the offensive traits now, and it's probably the most widely disputed as the best offensive trait, along with another one that I'll go through quickly, but it's the attack speed. Now this is actually such a great trait to have, and it's pretty straightforward obviously in the name, but it speeds up your attack and it also buffs your glaive, so your attack's going to be faster than your dual blades as well. It's also a great trait because speed means like you have more chances to regain faster in terms of your health per hit, and it also gives you a higher chance to debuff as well. Now the next one, which is almost on the same level as attack speed, is also DOT, also known as damage over 3s. Now this trait delivers damage, partially ignoring the enemy's defense. So if your enemy has quite a high defense and you've got DOTs and you attack them, it's really a great trait to have where you run in, attack them, and then run out again, because then they don't really have a chance to like fight back, and you've just dealt almost like a lethal blow to them, ignoring their defenses. So it's like pretty ideal in that situation. Next on the list I have is attack bonus. Also a really great one to have, very straightforward. It gives you, a direct bonus on top of your base attack. Next we have elemental attack bonus. Now this is also under the umbrella known as all weapon bonus or specific weapon bonus. It's a great trait that adds bonus that helps determine your global attack. However, it doesn't really give you much towards your raw damage output. But then again, like every little bit helps, especially when you've got a higher global attack. We also have some traits that tend to get confused, also known as the 3 Bs. Don't worry, I'm not one of them. The Berserker, the Blood Rage, and also the Brawler. I see a lot on Discord that, a lot of people don't know what this is. They get confused as to what is what. So let's clear it up. Now, it's pretty easy to see why they do get confused, by the way. I was quite confused until I read this on the blog. But the Berserker is a direct damage modifier, and it will boost your damage according to the percentage seen under the magical properties list, and it's written on the armor or the skill. Now, however, this is only triggered upon critical health. So the Berserker is triggered upon critical health, and basically it is what the name says. You go berserk, and it can really pull you through to the end as well. So if you like living life on the edge, this one is for you. We also have the Blood Rage next. I feel like this is like the type of name it kind of like you see, it's like when you see red in battle. It's also a direct damage modifier like the Berserker. It modifies your direct damage output by 10, which is absolutely huge. It's triggered upon killing a monster, and then it lasts for 6 seconds. So during this raid, you typically get 1 chance to activate it, but if you do activate it, you are in for a victorious win, if you're good. Now, we also have the Brawler, the third of the 3 Bs. It's also a direct damage modifier, which I can see how it can be confused because you've got 3 Bs, 3 offensive traits, 3 things that are direct damage modifiers. This one is actually activated based on the number of enemy units around you, and it's not very common. However, when it's activated, it's very useful. That's the last of the 3 Bs, but we also have 5 more offensive traits to go through, including the elemental skill cooldown and damage. So this is best if you have a high damage output already with specific traits such as the Fire Cone, Ice Staglamites, and also the Immortal Justice. So if you've got one of those 3, you should be killing it in this. The cooldown, it is a cooldown reduction, and the damage increment increase. They're only slight, but you know, every second counts, especially when you're in battle. So if you like really love to use those skills and you need that faster cooldown, this one is for you. So next up, we've got the critical hit damage and chance. These work quite interdependently, and they need to work hand in hand. So most legendary gears do have it, but if you don't have legendary gears, keep an eye out and make sure they are balanced. So they are very good at, like when combined, at having a critical hit chance and damage, because it can dish out a lot of damage and pretty much a very lethal attack on your opponent. But it's very powerful in the end game as long as the 2 are very balanced. The next trait we have is fear. Pretty obvious what this one is, like if you have been playing the game for a while, but it can be helpful when using when battling your champions who are susceptible to fear, such as the succubine. It disables the champion for a few seconds where you can get in your attack or just have a bit of a break from getting slaughtered if you're not very good, or the boss is very hard. But it basically instills fear into them. So this will help you finish off the monsters or attack the champion without receiving damage yourself, which is pretty much like a very ideal thing to have. So we've got one more trait left, which is last but not least, the health potion damage. Now, so if you're like killing it in the game, but you actually are not killing it, and you get killed and you use your health potion, then you get about 6 seconds that increases your, and it's a period that increases your damage output. So if you're really getting attacked, hit the potion, drink up, you've got your full health back, and you also have 6 seconds of a higher damage output as well, depending on the percentage that you have within your magical properties of your armor. So that is it for now for part 1 of the offensive magical property traits. Make sure to join the conversation on our Discord channel, and also keep an eye out for me for next week for part 2. See you later.